Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Later today, Chief and Council meeting, August 5th, 2021. My name is Joe Gosnell. I've been delegated the chairperson for today's meeting. I'd like to welcome all Lele Tene member viewers for our first live stream Chief and Council meeting today. I would like to begin by calling the meeting to order. Time now is 5:07 p.m. And the first order of business, I would like to kind of just a minor amendment to the agenda in front of you. I would like to begin today's meeting by a review and adoption of your meeting agenda. Just a quick amendment. We will review the agenda, and then the second order of business will be to review council meeting minutes from July 8th, 2021. Okay. So that is the minor amendment to the beginning of today's meeting.
I just have one thing to add to the agenda. Changing the dates for our Chief and Council minute meetings.
Okay.
What was that?
Change the dates to our Chief and Council meetings.
Joe? Mr. Chairman, I have a request from a member to, he was asking, his name is Peter Thompson, and he was asking if there was anybody that would know of a place where he can park his trailer on the reserve, because he's going to start working for LTN Logging.
Okay. I've added it to the end of today's agenda. So I've added two items. One is that Chief Logan has requested to add the meeting dates of Chief and Council meetings, and yours, Domo, for a member for a request for a trailer location. Any other additions, deletions to the draft meeting agenda? So, hearing none, do you move to adopt today's meeting agenda? Domo, moved by Domo. Seconded? Marcel? Seconded by Marcel Gagnon. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So the next agenda item for your consideration will be to review council meeting minutes from July 8th. And I will give you a few minutes for your review.
Question? Any question on the language part? Because language has a stop, continuing paid, and social media. So is that language, is that still going, or do we still have money to pay people on that?
No, actually, the language, that language project, under the, that part where Edie Frederick was to provide support and service, expired.
Oh, yeah, okay. So there is no language.
No, but Edith said she's going to continue on. Edith is going to continue on with the group that she has,
So,
the girls too.
Because
We got to
so
find
how
more
is that
funding.
going to continue without any money?
Well, she's asked to keep the equipment that the band purchased. And she still has lots of tapes and stuff, and she's still transcribing a lot, so she said she wants to continue with this on her own. Like transcribing all the tape.
Well, the product is ours,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think we have to make sure that we get all that stuff back,
Yep.
because that's valuable stuff.
Yeah, I did, actually, I
Because from time to
reminded,
time, stuff like that has gone missing.
yeah, I reminded the education manager to follow up on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just need assurance, I guess, you know.
This council needed a few more minutes. So is there a motion to adopt meeting minutes as of July 8th, 2021? Domo? Oh, moved by Domo, Dominic Bridger. We have a seconder. Josh, seconded by Joshua Seymour. All those in favor? Carried? Thank you. Okay, I kind of failed at the beginning of the meeting to conduct a council roundtable introduction just for our live stream viewers, so we'll do that now. We'll begin to my left.
Chief Darlene Logan.
Councillor Crystal Gibbs.
And our guests.
Walt Tippensy with Formula. Steve Appleton with Forestry Future Industries.
Nora Stewart, Lead Executive Assistant.
Barbara Allen, Capacity Development.
Dominic Frederick, Councillor.
Arthur Ganian, Councillor.
Joshua Seymour, Councillor.
Okay, thank you, council and guests. Okay,
Do you remember who donated the money for this? Playground?
Pardon?
Who donated the money for the playground?
Fortis.
Orders.
So, welcome back, everyone, to our live stream viewers. Back to the meeting agenda. We have next on our agenda the proposal for the Southside Playground update. That'll be introduced by Chief Logan.
Okay, so it was about a year ago? Was it a year ago? Last year.
Yeah.
Last year, Fortis has donated $100,000 for a playground on the south side. We contacted Grassroots Play Equipment, and I should have printed off your one. So we went through the design with Grassroots. They came up from Vancouver, and the playground equipment will come up to about 100 and maybe 110,000. So that doesn't cover ground prep. That would be up to us to get rid of like the sewer, the water main. The water main is a kind of a we're not too sure what to do about that. If we put it in because there's no shut off, or if we just leave it for like a drinking fountain or something. So what we're bringing this today is asking if we can pay for the ground prep out of the OSR and go with grassroots to put in a playground for the south side, and it would be where the old treaty trailers are.
Like right by the band
It'll be the band office,
Yeah.
and then it'll be right here. We figured that would be the best spot for it because there's security cameras at the band office and at the gas station. And that way, if the kids are playing, and it's a security thing, because if the kids are playing, we always have staff at the gas station, and we'll have the lights on a timer. So it's,
So we need, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, no more.
Sorry for talking out of turn. So I think first thing we do is get a feasibility study done. And I think part of that is doing a contamination thing for search for any particles or chemicals that may be spilled in that area because the
Yeah.
trailer was there. And it also was run by gas, so we might need to do a cleanup.
by propane, and
Yeah.
that's what we mean by we need to get them, I'm not sure of the amount of the OSR to do the ground prep for this. I was thinking probably about 20 to 30 to get it all ready, because there's a sewer that has to be redone, refilled,
Well-
cleaned up.
It depends, I guess it depends what you're gonna do there. Or is it just the playground you're gonna put there,
Yeah.
or is there additional,
Just the playground,
just the playground?
just the playground.
Yeah, probably $100,000. I don't know.
The playground's
It's
100,000.
not cheap, eh?
It's not cheap, no, the
Not cheap,
feasibility
yeah.
study, make sure it's all
You gotta be
prepped.
realistic, eh? Like, I got the eye from the finance manager, they're just giving me an eyeball.
So be prepped, be ready,
Yeah.
make sure everything's all up to standard and stuff, and I was hoping to put a fence around it, just so, because kids are kids, right? Run around, play tag, and right over there.
So Marcel has a question, and then Josh.
Yeah, so Fortis gave us $100,000 for this playground, and we still need another 10 to 20. So you're asking band council approval from our own sources to, okay,
Orange source spread, yeah.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Just to get it ready for the playground. Then we can hopefully have it up quick. That's someplace for the kids to,
For the kids,
for the kids.
That's a good,
for the community.
Yeah. yeah.
Josh?
So with that site, is that the only site that we can build the playground? I'm just thinking if we do have a feasibility study and we found out that there's some sort of contaminants with the septic tank, if it were cracked or something under there, is there another site that this could be located just as a backup?
As a backup, there was over by Peter John's, behind Peter John's house.
Oh, yeah.
That's the backup,
Okay,
but we prefer
where it's visible?
where it's visible for everyone can watch all the kids.
And has the
that's-
traffic slowed down going to the gas station?
Nope, that's another thing we have to discuss in building up the speed bumps like on the north side.
Yeah. Is there a way we can get one of those things that like monitors your speed and then flashes if you go too fast or kind of reads you, when you just come
Yeah.
down Peden Hill?
Yeah.
Give you that frown?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Slow
just
down
flashes a light at you.
flashes, I think.
Yeah, because I'm just
Myself
thinking
standing there with
safety.
this flashlight.
Or a white car or SUV with
We'll just
red
park
and
it
blue
there.
Christmas lights turning.
Yeah.
And with the option 1, the option 2, will that be left up to the kids on the community to vote?
Option 1 is the $100 and some thousand one.
And number 2 is
Okay,
99.
yeah.
Option 2 can, yeah.
So I think they'd have It'd be cool for them to pick their own playground too, right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are different models, different,
Yeah.
slightly different setups, but the price difference is, option 1 is 100,391.
Yeah, and option two is 99.
Number 2 is 99,098.
So they're in the ballpark with each other, right?
They're
Yeah,
pretty close.
they're pretty close. I wanted to add the stepping things and this wooden thing here is actually something for kids to balance on.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's actually big enough for an adult and it's high enough that you can sit. If you're like me, I'm lazy. I like to sit there and watch the kids play. Because after chasing them around on this, you get tired.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, why don't we, just an idea, build well, we can do it on the north side and the south side. Build some benches in honor of some of our past elders. Just an idea.
Yeah.
I remember that was brought to Lands when Domo and I were on Lands many, many years ago. And when it was first brought up, I agreed. I said yes. I would pay $250 to have a bench with my mother's name on it.
That'd be cool.
And I think I remember when it was brought up, remember we wanted the walkway around the north side and south side along the river, so it's kind of like ancient forest, something easy for a wheelchair access, walker access, and benches all along, so you can just sit and look at the river. It's something we'll bring up to Lands. But I agree, I like that idea, I always have.
So,
Shut up.
so Chief Logan, with the estimate 1 and 2, and with your review of both models in mind, which option does council favor?
I like option 2.
I'm too,
I like option 1.
Two?
I want to be different.
just to be.
Option 1.
Josh.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
just
it's up
looking
to
there,
you.
and I'm trying to figure out which one would be more fun with the, for the kids, right? So option 2 does have the swings as well.
Yep. And they both have 2 slides. They have the climbing thing.
Yeah.
I don't see any climbing thing on here. Boy,
Oh,
these
and a
kids,
bench.
they like to climb like this.
Yeah, this is the
They're
climbing
crazy.
thing here.
Boy, option
big
2 is the
green
climbing one, eh?
Yeah.
Hold on, too.
Yeah, this one has a climbing thing too.
So this one has a wall and this one has the hoops.
And the company said that we can make these any color we want. Where the climbing rock area, we can put, they're willing to put, duck cuff names in there.
What?
It's like a learning board, it's called a learning board. That's another thing that we can eventually buy, a learning board with duck cuff language,
Oh, yeah.
with our language on it.
That'd be cool.
Nice.
All up to you, Josh.
Well,
You're
no
the
pressure.
tiebreaker.
No pressure too, I mean,
So as somebody who's worked at a elementary school.
I'm watching you.
2.
We have eyes on you.
We have eyes on
I
2
know, eh?
of you.
No,
On
I'm gonna leave this to fate. Oh, I don't even have a coin, I can't leave it to fate.
2.
I
Option
don't have coins, I'm,
Well, you see, the only difference is the climbing structures, right? Well, you see, I do like the monkey bars in number 1.
It's the climbing structure and the.
Does
the-
number 2 have monkey
what do you call
bars?
this? Stepping stones.
Oh, number 2 doesn't have monkey bars either. So I'm gonna have to go with number 1.
You
Just
want
'cause of the monkey
option
bars.
1,
The other one doesn't have monkey bars.
so I have to get rid of the log balance thing?
Well, no, there's one in number
No.
1.
you can add it.
It's right there.
Oh, they're expensive.
It'll be extra,
Yeah, they are, they're
but
expensive.
if it's gonna be worth it, then,
Isn't that it right
you
there?
know, get it
Is
for
that
the kids.
option 1?
Yes.
Option 1.
Okay. Option one it is.
And if the
I'm
kids
just
don't like
happy
it,
to- I'm just
sorry.
happy to get it.
Okay, which Josh's fault?
That was the most stressful I've ever been, eh?
Yeah.
Option one, yay!
Okay, so I'll put a motion on the meeting table that for the playground equipment, options 1 and 2, Chief and Council reviewed playground facilities, options 1 and 2, and hereby approve option number 1. Do we have a mover to the motion?
Marcel.
I move that.
Marcel?
Yep.
Seconder?
Oh, this is on you.
Second.
Crystal? All those in favor? Okay, carried.
One more, we need one more motion. We need one more motion. for
Money.
The money for the land trust.
Okay, also, council needs to allocate funding for
Land trust.
the lands prep for the playground equipment.
Do you know how much?
We're not, we said 10 to 20, so should we do 20, just on the high side?
I think 20 is going to do
30? 40? 50, just to be on the high side?
Let's say up to, right?
Up to? Up
it.
to?
Yeah, up to 50, or even 100 if necessary, because then we're going to be coming back to the table again,
Also keep in
depending on what
Yeah.
has to be done.
Also keep in mind, council, that the executive director has an authority of up to 50. So,
So that includes the fencing as well, right?
Yeah, we'll have to look into fencing, yeah.
Yep.
Man, that's stressful.
I know.
I should have picked
What
first.
do we do for kids,
I
hey?
should have picked first.
The 50,
Yeah,
we-
that's funny.
and then Joe,
Just
if
all-
need be,
I
Joe
felt the
can
camera
prove up
right
to 50.
here.
okay. So we have,
Up to 50.
Jawad would like to make a comment.
Thank you. So everyone knows that before the Fortis gave us this money, like when the time Fortis was planning to give this money, I was told by the executive director to find out some of the cost about the equipment and also the land prep. So I actually reached out to some contractors, and the ballpark I got at that point of time, it was about $60,000 without a fence. So I would assume that since it is a budgetary estimate, so let's be at the higher side so that we don't have to come back again, right?
Yeah. So
And
we're
I'm
gonna,
talking about September 2020, the estimate was from then. So it could go up or even could go down at this point of time. We don't really know. But why the price is pretty high is because we talked about potential sites, and most of the sites we have needs grading and needs similar work for a subdivision. So that is why the work is pretty much in the site itself for the site preparation. And we do have water mains, like Chief Logan said, and also the hydrant connections. So if we need to take off the hydrant and the water main connections, we need to reach out to the main water line which coming from the reservoir itself. So we have a little
Why
bit
can't
of
we keep
digging
the
and the water
hydrant?
line connection work as well to do. So that adds up to the price.
well, but if we keep the hydrant there and paint it like a little man. We know what we're doing.
So will
Okay.
the, oh, no, yeah, because it'd have to be right where the trading trailer used to be, right? Because it can't be behind the sense of septic field. Right?
Yeah, so it's,
Okay.
So, council members, I just kind of briefed with Jawad. Can you consider a budgetary amount for the playground land prep for up to 80,000?
80?
Yeah. And that's, again, as Jawad stated, we should consider a high estimate rather than bringing back a different cost estimate back to council. So it's just to facilitate timing, because where we're at now, we're into August. And we need to, again, the band received this funding last year. And I believe Fortis has reporting requirements as well. Domo?
Just for time's sake, should we do a consecutive motion for the 50,000 and the 50,000 or the 30,000? So that you don't have to come back to the table again?
Yeah, that's what we're proposing. Why don't we just up to 100? That way we don't have to come back.
We'll do 250s.
250s?
way
Yeah, Joe
Joe can take care of
can
it.
do 50, we can do 50, so.
Yeah.
There goes his holidays. No.
Oh, he's not going on holidays this year.
Can we seek for another funding source?
So 50.
Don't worry about it, you got too much money there.
Actually, that was something we were considering too, like when we first heard about this money for the playground, we were thinking about a different funding source if we can find something, right? And also reaching out to different contractors, like to have a fight among, so that we could achieve a better price, right? Rather than going to only one contractor. So that's something
Totally.
we have
Well-
to.
Well, we're supposed
Well,
to
you know
get
what,
3
Canfor is right there.
Canfor is
You
right
can go
there.
approach Canfor and ask them, say, well, hey, throw some money into our kids here and we need a playground for them. They'll do it.
Yeah.
Talk to, what's his name, Ken? Is that his name?
Peter?
Huh?
Peter Bear?
Peter,
Peter,
sorry.
yeah.
I changed his name already.
So
Peter
do we
Barrett,
require
yeah.
a motion then?
Yeah, we require a motion for, because it's coming out of OSR. It's 50,000 out of OSR.
Okay. So, okay, so from what I'm hearing from the discussion on the table is that I've drafted a motion for your consideration. Chief and Council hereby approves a proposed budget amount of up to 50,000 to include the Executive Director's expenditure authority. Does that sound right from your discussion?
You're heading it up.
So we have that motion on the table, moved by Domo,
Second by Josh.
seconded by Joshua. All in favor? Carried unanimously.
Yay. We get to go play.
Just off the record, are we naming that playground?
It's
That'll be something to think
Question.
about.
we'll bring
you
to
know.
the community.
The benches would be really cool.
And if we do, can we just leave it with Joe to
To name it,
coordinate?
There's no pressure.
no pressure, Joe.
50,000 from OSR and 50,000 for Joe's ED's approval. Yeah.
Okay, so that is that agenda item. Again, we are behind in our time and the agenda. The next agenda item, which was scheduled for 6 p.m., is the First Nations Health Authority lease agreement proposal. So we have Jawad who will introduce that agenda item for council discussion. Jawad?
Thank you. So as a recap, we received a office space request from FNHA, and that was to have a lease on the north side for 8 to 10 employees of FNHA. So we had a discussion from us and back and forth with them, what could be different options, and in consequence, we progressed to reach out to the contractors, getting some designs from their side, like what they need, probably in a trailer unit of about 1,500 square feet of size. We have a potential place where we could put it, It's right beside the BCAFN trailer, what's in there right now. There is a vacant lot with all the services we need. So after reaching out to the contractor, we have figured the price of the whole trailer unit. If we are buying it, then it's financially not very suitable for the band. That's because the price the contractors came up with is about $265,000 for the trailer unit, and on top of it, $86,000 for transportation and installation. And after that, what price we still don't have is all the rough-ins and the interior works, plus the wheelchair access the trailer will need. Assuming that will add up to the cost, and also the site grading, because the site is not prepped as like the playground itself. So we will need some cost added to the site prep too. So altogether, my assumption is it's not going to be less than $100,000. So everything together, it's about $450,000. And the proposed lease rate, we negotiated with them, like not in pen and paper, but the lease rate they proposed was $15 per square feet annually, and we proposed 25, excluding the O&M costs. O&M costs cover all the utility bills, snow removal, garbage, etc. That is separate from this 25. So if we think about 25 square feet per annum, that is about $37,500 per year. And if we are talking about a 10-year lease, what they proposed, we are recovering $375,000, right? So comparing to the cost of $450,000, we are recovering in 10 years, $375,000 is not financially viable in any way. So that was so far the situation economically. We have thought about different other options. For example, whether or not we could offer the land as is, and they come up with the cost of the infrastructure itself, and we rediscuss about the price, like the per square feet price.
Okay, Marcel?
We talked about this project before, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to,
Yeah, at that point, the discussion ended up to the infrastructure we are providing. So this is an update that if we are going to provide the infrastructure cost-wise, financially, it's not very favorable.
Domo?
So what is their price?
What is there?
What are they bringing to the table?
So, Domo, so what they're telling that they gave us a few options. So number one option that they are talking that, okay, you bring the building, your site, we are paying you $25 per square feet. So we search in the market, so that price has come like $450,000, and they are paying us like $25 per square feet. And if we convert it to the yearly, it is like only $1,500 yearly. We are earning from them, but we are investing $450,000, which we can recover only by renting like in 12 years. That is not a viable option. So the second option, we told them that, okay, so we have a few other tenant here, so they bring their own trailer and they are paying us rent. I mean the lease only, right? So that is another option. They asked that, okay, so if this is the option, what would be your price? We didn't tell them anything. So why this option is most viable to us, for example, at this moment, BCAFN, they're paying us $2,500. So they are, this is their trailer, they are doing whatever they like. I mean, we're just taking the money. We don't have any liability on the trailer. We are not taking the depreciation cost of the unit, so all costs belong to them, we just take the money. So the place is vacant, it was carrier secondary, trailer was there. So it is a service, all service available, we don't have additional cost. We tell them just bring your trailer, put there and give us money, just rent. So that was our thought.
So in simple terms, I mean, initially the approach we felt was straightforward. However, with the cost estimates that have come in on the mobile units, for $450,000, my first question to myself was, why is the landlord putting out this kind of money for a tenant? I mean, that's in simple terms. The other is recovery of your expenditure, right? It doesn't
Well,
make sense.
Sorry, Joe. I was under the assumption that they were gonna be here for like 20 years or 25 years. That was one of the, that's why we recommended that we will supply the site and the infrastructure for them, so that they pay into it and we own it at the end anyways. You know, but if it's not financially viable, then it's not
So
financially
if
viable.
we even,
Because, you know, you're losing money, yeah?
yeah, exactly. So upfront, like we are paying $450,000. So that is one more question.
Yeah.
One question is like, it is a cash flow issue. Number two, if they even stay there for 15 years, so until 12 years, we are just recovering the cost. And there is a time value of money. So if we spend $450,000 today, and if it takes us to 12 years to recover, that value of the money in 12 years probably $600,000. So eventually, that option, like, it doesn't seem a viable option. Then they provide another option that they're telling that, what if FNHA share a part of the cost? So part of the cost of the building. So they propose another option. So now, when they propose that option is like another question here. So what if they propose that, who would be the owner of the building at the end of the lease term? They'll tell them, oh, this is our building, pay us like $500,000, $300,000. So that is like, if you go that way, that sharing the cost of the building, it should be very transparent, that would be the owner of the building.
Josh?
Yeah, what I want to know is, like, what is the lifespan of a trailer? Like, is it worth going into partnership with FNHA if this lifespan of this trailer isn't even going to make it to the end of the lease? Because I don't think I've seen a lot of 25-year-old trailers out there.
That are worth anything.
Yeah.
Domo.
Can we wrap this up really quickly? My suggestion is to keep it simple, and we lease the land, and that's it, and, you know, we collect the money. They bring their own infrastructure in.
So I'd like
Pay for
to
their own.
actually just, again, just to meet your request to speed it up. Darlene and we're just briefing here. Don't forget that you have a band office location on the south side. Also, where the health department, they're operating today, they will be vacating that space as well. So those are other options to the band we haven't really explored or even offered.
Then the price goes up.
So then can we table this until we find out what those other options are, if those buildings are available?
Yeah, I think we can table this issue. I believe we are expecting a reply from First Nations Health Authority.
Yeah.
Actually, the opposite. We are going to send them a response.
Okay, so from this meeting and based on this discussion, we'll reply back to First Nations Health.
So what's the turnaround time for? Do they need an answer quickly, or?
Yeah, they initially requested for the October 1st lease date. So as soon as we can hit the answer, because there is a manufacturing delay at this point for these mobile units, they're running late. So even if we are hitting the manufacturing space, whether it's us or them, anyway, I don't think they can hit the ground before snow starts. So it's really time sensitive, but I like that idea to explore the vacant place we are going to have. That's excellent.
Can I make a recommendation? Get all our options really quick, send it to, well, whatever fast as you can, send all council the information, and then we can get approval right away. And if there's no reply, we'll consider that as a yes. And that way we can get this rolling quick.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
So it doesn't require a meeting like this?
No, we'll just do it through email.
Yeah.
And then no reply is a yes.
We'll shoot an email tomorrow morning.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Yeah,
Tomorrow?
yeah.
If not tonight.
Okay, so an email will be sent direct to First Nations Health Authority? Okay, at this point, I'll have to ask the meeting recorders where we're at with our presenters. I know that we're behind in the agenda. 6:30 was to be the Rotary Club Conference speaker request.
I'll go see if they're here.
And
Karen,
following
sorry.
that, on your agendas was to be at 7 p.m. Ancient Forest Working Group. To be presented by Karen Sharp.
So is that what we're going to right now?
We're gonna see who's here. To see if, Jeremy's here.
So, members that want to come into town or who are in town to come sit with us.
So you're talking 19th in September then, every third Sunday.
Every third Sunday, yep. That way, what do you think?
Sort of subtle, isn't it?
Kind of settled. Just say,
Just,
just sit there and shake your head.
just my note to that, council, is that what we're experiencing now under this format is that it's very tiring and exhausting to staff.
And we,
That when meetings go to 10 or 11 p.m., we have to work the following day. And it's more pressing and more taxing on us if it's a very busy week.
and we have. Domo first.
Oh, Domo?
Yeah, I will cut him.
You're the boss.
Well, I was just saying, like, we've
But it's
had
my turn.
this, I know it's your turn, but I'm gonna overstep and say, Domo. It's because we have to table a lot of stuff because, and we have to phone people, or Kenora and Joe have to phone people, say, sorry, there's not enough time on the agenda,
Yeah.
can we try and book you in next month? So, we'll just, in the daytime, it's easier.
So with that, if it's on the third Sunday of each month, can we also shorten the agenda? Like to have, if anybody's coming in, to be specific on what they're gonna say and right to the point so that the meeting just doesn't go on and on and on.
Yeah,
And,
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, Domo,
because that's what's happening, I think.
those are good questions, and I think what I proposed to the previous council, in order to accelerate and speed up some of these pressing projects or files, I recommended to the previous council that perhaps this nation consider an executive committee, whereby you would have a quorum of council to say if I or any other department manager required a council decision in a timely fashion, that we could call on this executive committee. You could convene a quicker meeting and render a decision quicker, so that we don't have to pile everything into one meeting agenda. So that was my previous recommendation, and I put that on the table for your thoughts.
Okay.
So are you, sorry, were you?
Can I respond?
Yeah.
Just one thing that I would add to that is having all the information on the computer so that ahead of time so that we can go through it. That way it'll make things quicker so we're not
Yeah.
flipping pages here. and-
Turn and read.
I mean, we all didn't bring our computers, so, which we should be doing, and we're all part of that communication thing that's sort of breaking down little bit by little bit right now. So we have to get back on track on that too.
Yeah.
So
our
just say,
No, yeah, I explained to Kenora how we do the USB and share. So we'll be starting to bring
yeah,
up
or
computers.
the USB,
Yeah,
maybe pass it down a week before or something so that we can go through.
yeah. But like a few days prior to the meeting would be perfect.
So next meeting, we'll have the USB information package. Marcel, you had a question?
Yeah, so when you're talking about this proposed executive plan of yours, are you talking about just having a quorum is going to be enough to pass these things? Because I would personally would be a bit concerned about that, because not out of selfishness, but I'd sure like to know what's going on with a lot of these things. As a council member, I feel like I owe it to the membership that I'm on top of stuff and be included in it all the time. Whether it seems like it doesn't need all council, I think all issues do. So to be informed of it at least.
Yeah, again, just a reminder, that was just a suggestion.
Yeah.
It is standard to some
I know
government
that
bodies,
myself.
so again, your point is well taken. However, I think it would fit the situation of budgeted projects that need to be moved in that aspect. I do agree that perhaps with the previous council, we put out emails after email requesting decisions and no responses or replies. And that was a difficult situation for us to gauge certain decisions.
Not in self-defense, but my computer and my phone does not receive emails.
That's why we're nominating you to lead it all.
Krista?
Isn't now no response is considered a
Yes.
That's the way I understood it?
Yep.
So in the regular chief and council meetings, could we have kind of like the executive committee's report so we know what's going on? So if 3 decisions were made, it's just kind of an update all going through.
I would recommend that everyone's on the email, that we were all involved, and say that Karen needed, or whatever, for Agent Force. Domo has one more.
Domo?
Just for clarification's sake for membership, is that when you're making decisions under the Indian Act, you have to do it at a council meeting so that it goes on the record. It has to be mentioned, even though you do it before or after, you still have to make that motion to pass it as a quorum at a duly convened chief and council meeting. So that's the only thing that, that should be there all the time. That's for community, so that there's transparency. So I think we can work around that and
Yeah.
make decisions in terms of that.
Yeah. Tofi?
Just to remind one thing to Chief, that previously we have a convened meeting with MNP. So all chief and council meeting, they suggested, according to the government thing, that it need be convened from the reserve.
For tax purposes.
For tax exempt purpose. So chief and council meeting major decision for the band should be, the council meeting should be must be conducted from the reserve for the tax exemption purpose. So previously we took it off for the COVID purpose last year, that since it is a COVID, so we don't have enough space in band office. So that's why we are convening our meeting in town office, town and area, just for your information.
It also should be noted too, there's a different interpretation right through the CRA. So we do realize that, but from the advice we attain, that's what Tawfiq is reciting.
Well, even through CRA, we still have to develop that policy so that we can work through that area so that they're satisfied.
Okay, I'm going to bring back the agenda. So Marcel?
Yeah, was there a motion or something about the monthly meetings? Did we move past that yet?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
So the motions would be to change our council monthly meetings
To every third
to
Sunday
every
of
third
each month?
Sunday of each month, from now until the next elections. Crystal,
Move?
She moved it.
Seconder?
Josh,
Seconded by Josh.
all in favor?
All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay, thank you, council members. We'll get back to the agenda now. So thank you, Karen, for waiting.
Oh, no worries, it's important business.
So just before you begin, Karen, just a note to your agenda, Rotary Club, which was identified for 6:30, has not shown up this evening, so we will table that agenda item and move on to the Ancient Forest Working Group presentation from Karen Sharp. Karen?
I was going to say, I can actually speak to the Rotary Club scenario too. I do have a briefing note on that if you want. So,
Sure.
okay. I'll do that at the end though, if that's okay. So first off, Huddy, everyone, my name's Karen Sharp. I am the Ancient Forest Project Manager, and I know I haven't met all of you, so hi. So I want to try and get through these things quickly. I know it's late. So the first thing on the agenda is to talk about Tourism Prince George and sharing video footage with Tourism Prince George. So Clately previously had developed a commercial to highlight Prince George tourism, or Clately tourism, sorry, Clately tourism. And from that commercial, there is extra footage, which they call B-roll and then stills. And Tourism Prince George, as part of this agreement, is requesting use of some of those images in their promotional materials, in online, social media, things like that. So what I am going to present to you is the video B-roll that they have, which are divided into images that we can keep for proprietary for Clately Tenay to use in promotion and tourism, as well as options for sharing with Tourism Prince George. So these are just recommendations. Any changes, approvals that you guys want to go through, totally on board with. And then we have still photos as well that I've broken up into what would be Clately's own use versus what could be shared with Tourism Prince George. There's no cost to this. It is something that they will use and develop. It does boost Clately's image, though, within the region, so it's free advertising for Clately. So on the second sheet, there is a list that says LTN proprietary use and then tourism. So it's a 4-minute video, and I've tried to break it down by seconds, so you can see each segment of time, which one is going to Clately and which one will be go to. Yes.
Good.
All right. So I'm going to try and.
I have to adjust the volume too.
Okay. This actually doesn't have sound on most of it.
Okay.
So it's like it's literal B-roll, so it's just mostly imagery. And they can add music to it if they want. So continue. So how do you maximize that? All right. So there we go.
Permission, the city permission or tourism permission to use some of these clips Would that require getting individual okay from these people that are being,
No, they've already signed releases
Okay.
authorizing its use.
okay.
I suspect this is probably going to take some time for people to look through and digest. So I'm going to leave a copy of all this footage with Kenora, and you guys can look at it and review it and see if you agree and make your recommendations.
So with tourism, when they do create this footage that they want to use from our B-roll, will we have a say in if it's going to be used in the proper way?
We can set those standards,
Because
yes.
the last thing I'd want is for an image of one of our community members being misrepresented in a commercial.
Yes, we can certainly set those standards out, absolutely.
Is there any way to add extra footage to these?
I
'Cause I
believe.
noticed in all of our footage and stills and everything, it's usually just the one fact.
We could be looking to produce more, so we do have a tourism strategy going forward, and part of that is to develop more vignettes to use in tourism, and we could certainly highlight different families, so we would actually create new footage.
So who would pay for that?
Clately is, and that's part of what I'm going to talk about in a couple moments. Not just Clately, Tourism Prince George is providing money as well.
And the quality is high definition?
Yes. This footage was filmed by an award-winning company called Black Rhino. And so they used the highest quality equipment to record this.
So could we ask Tawfiq if he would get up and do a song while this is playing?
It does seem weird without any sound on it.
Gotta put some music to that, though. Just a little bit of a.
Oh, yeah. That's how you start a forest fire.
Camouflage. He thinks nobody knows he's lighting fire. But he gives himself away when he shows his face.
He's killing the mosquitoes.
That's very important here.
It's a nice rifle.
This is the Victor Joseph story.
So,
Dark Vincent. We're not broadcasting it, are we?
so with segments like this,
You see, I taught these guys everything that they know. Yeah. They stole it from me.
so when we're
Can I
looking at
ask
the-
oh, go ahead.
So we're looking at the images, images like ones that we're watching right now. See, and it'd be good to make sure it's coming from a cultural standpoint, so
Yeah.
people understand what it is. So
Yes.
it's not just
And that's why I had it more Clately's control. So
Yeah, yeah.
the majority of the smudging would be under Clately's control to determine how to use it
Yeah.
and make sure that it's got the right context.
yeah. I don't want it, to be like, oh, come
Yeah.
to Prince George, and they show
Yes.
without any context or
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
So they understand our culture and what we do and why we do it.
Yes. So I do agree that these should be used with background information, so they're not just stills flashing on a screen.
Yeah.
And we can definitely make that a requirement.
Cool.
All right, so that's the footage for the B-roll. I'm going to go through the still images quickly. So we have what I was considering could be suitable for sharing with Tourism Prince George. one of these, oops. Let's try that again. There. Open. All right, so these are largely just still images from what you just saw in the video. So this would be potentially stuff we could share.
Beautiful.
So, and that's the last one there. And then what was identified as potentially being just Plate Lee proprietary use. Ah, sorry, technology. For some reason, this one keeps having trouble opening. I'll have to give you another copy of that. And then that's that. Okay. So those are the video footages that we're hoping we can get some direction as to whether it's suitable to share or not with Tourism Print Storage. Okay.
I think we have to look at it again and to make
Yes.
sure from elders that that's the proper procedures.
Mm-hmm.
Because from what I understand, there's other methods of, you know, not only smudging your weapons to go hunting, but you know you have to do it in a way so that you don't smell like it.
Yes.
So because the animals smell your smoke as soon as
Right.
you go anywhere. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to look at that and
Okay.
you know,
And then we'll have to get the appropriate information that
Yeah.
goes with those images as well.
And that's if they're even going to use those ones, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with trapping it.
Yeah.
You have to boil the traps when you get new traps, and you have to boil them in spruce boughs or pine and birch barks, you know, and just so that you get them smelling like what the animals are used to.
Right.
You know, that's the same thing with doing your weapons.
Yeah. So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, can I? The company that did the filming there, created those images, if we were to agree to be involved in this, are we obligated to have to use that company, or
No.
just as long as the quality is there is what you want?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're not obligated to use that one. If there was some issue or concern that you wanted to use a different company, that would something that we could definitely approach.
Yeah, not an issue. Not an issue by no means. It's just, you know, there's other options out there. And
Yes.
maybe we favor somebody else, you know.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what I'm hearing through the council input here is concern with copyright. But, I mean, even like say through any media outlet, I mean, there's always an opportunity for some other persons or organizations to download images, right?
Right.
So I think that's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
indicated.
We could certainly look into a way to embed Plate Lee's information into any imagery to make sure that it isn't pirated or used without your permission. Anyone who's gone online and tried to use like stock photos will often see watermarks over it. that is something that we can incorporate so that people can't use it. And Plately owns all the rights to these footage. It's Plately's owned material. Yeah. So all crediting, if it's used with PG Tourism, would go to Plately. Okay, so like I said, I don't expect a decision today. I know you guys need to look at it and think about it, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys saw what footage we were talking about. So the next subject on the agenda is also tied to tourism, Tourism Prince George. So as I said, we've got a strategic initiative that will help to develop a plan that will help Plately Tourism be launched. So providing opportunity for Plately members to learn about business tied to tourism, highlighting Udadum Bayou so that it can be used more broadly, developing those video vignettes. The company we worked with was Indigenous Works, who developed that first commercial and developed the tourism strategy that was approved by Chief and Council. So we've got a new contract with them, and Tourism Prince George has agreed to pay $25,000. Oh, am I in the wrong one? Sorry. Sorry, I did jump ahead. I forgot to move my sheet. LTN Tourism PG Funds Agreement, Prince George. Sorry. This agreement, Prince George Tourism has agreed to pay $25,000 of this work for the strategic development, and as part of that, they need a memorandum of understanding or a memorandum of agreement to track what the money is going to be used for. So there's a draft memorandum of understanding on the back. So the purpose of the agreement is to promote the well-being, economic development, and the prosperity of Plately Tene Nation, to work in collaboration and partnership with Plately Tene Nation and tourism partners, in the spirit of reconciliation, to recognize a generous and more fair benefit from LTN participation, to deliver on the terms agreed to in the content sharing partnership that was signed previously between LTN Tourism and Northern BC Tourism, and to establish a clear understanding on roles, responsibilities, and outcomes of the project for all partners, and to move forward in implementing the tourism objectives for each partner, their platforms, and intended usage. The background will be objectives will be to develop cultural branding standards for Chunto Woodajut, the ancient forest, develop the cultural video vignettes, assist LTN entrepreneurship in the development of cultural tours through some workshops for LTN members, and to promote Udadum Bayou's competitive advantage in the region. It will solidify the relationship between Plately Tene Nation, Tourism Prince George, and Northern BC Tourism, established through previous collaborations on content sharing, and continue Indigenous nation-centric promotion and programming, media relations, and marketing activities. The Plately Tene, Tourism Prince George, and other parties will work collaboratively on the development of Plately's focused tourism objectives for the ancient forest and for Udadum Bayou. The work will be linked to a launch of cultural tourism video in the fall, and Tourism Prince George will contribute $25,000 towards this project. Plately is contributing the other $50,000.
So where is
Yeah. I don't know. This will have to be reviewed.
So just a general question, Karen, I mean, just what automatically stands out in the recommendation is that LTN is contributing twice the amount as Tourism PG, right?
Yeah.
Just a general question is why?
Tourism Prince George was only had $25,000 to contribute towards this. I see this as an opportunity to seek additional funding through Northern BC Tourism and other partners as well that would offset Plately's investment.
Any questions, Council? So in the, yeah, this, the memorandum of understanding presented today is basically being presented for your input. Whether you agree with it or not at this point, that's why I asked for questions. And Karen, again, is here to answer any of your questions relating to this memorandum of understanding.
Yes, and I would like to say this is in draft form still, so there's still plenty of opportunity to amend it and change it. Tourism Prince George has not reviewed or provided their comments back yet either. So, yes.
Question for you. So is there a $75,000 goal or objective here as to why the contributions from both parties come to $75,000? Is there a cap on that?
There is a cap. It won't exceed this. I don't have the contract right in front of me, but it does highlight each of the activities that will occur under this. The four objectives, tourism objectives, are the focus for this contract. So when we talk about cultural brand standards, we will be developing terms for it, developing imagery, engaging with the community to get approval on this, as well as launching the tourism strategy of Lheidli T'enneh. What else? Video vignettes. So that will include the hiring of companies to film the video vignettes. So like you said, we don't have to use Black Rhino. We do have other opportunities. It would be encompassed in this budget. We don't have additional costs on top of it. So that we would have people come in and film the video vignettes as needed that would tell stories of Lheidli. So we'd be working with community members and elders to determine, what those stories are and how to present them and how to put them in video.
Do you have a current committee together overseeing this project?
We have the Ancient Forest Working Group, which is providing guidance, and then the intent is to work with the Elder Society as well as other community members. So right now the Ancient Forest Working Group is providing a lot of the initial directive that will then go to the community for approval.
And is that somebody from our band?
They are all, yes.
They're all that?
Yes. They're all Lheidli members, aside from myself.
So as Karen mentioned, the memorandum of understanding is in draft form currently.
Yes.
I think it's only fair to provide council additional time for their review and input at this point, since it's only been presented for review.
Yes,
to
I should have
tonight's meeting.
put that, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go back one page, which is to the story trail. Sorry, I skipped that earlier. So this is just information for Chief and Council. So the Ancient Forest and Lheidli have been working together with BC Parks. BC Parks applied for funding and received it to develop what's called a story trail. And the story trail would highlight Ancient Forest. It is a series of QR codes that people can scan and listen to narration about areas of interest in the park. And so they've received funding for it. I have reviewed the draft script, provided comments and input. We're in still the editing stage. It hasn't been finalized. That would be brought back to council for final approval. We have requested that Darlene McIntosh and Joshua Seymour provide their voice to the narration. They have reviewed the draft script. They were quite happy with it. And they've agreed to participate going forward. The script, like I said, is still in the editing stages. There are discussions right now as to what the signs will look like in the Ancient Forest. Will they have printed information along with the QR code, or just be a QR code along the trail that people can scan? And then all the costs for this are being covered by BC Parks. And it provides a more interactive presentation about the ancient forest and highlight Lheidli's culture in the park.
Chairperson?
Josh?
So when we're looking at this, the story trail, the sections that are coming from Lheidli's community, so whether it's elders, whoever has these stories, who would be in control of what those stories could be used for? Would we just record a bunch of this and give it to the BC Parks and then they develop it?
Yes, but it is restricted to the QR code, so they can't take it and apply it to anything else. So it would be tied specifically to the park.
So if Lheidli wanted to develop some sort of local curriculum, could we utilize those stories for our stuff?
Yes.
If we were to build the curriculum for the school district?
Yes.
We own it.
Yep. The story trail script asked for traditional names in the area. They asked for any stories that people might have. Right now, the working group doesn't have that information. They don't know it. So we need to engage further with the elders and knowledge holders to try and incorporate more information effectively. Yeah.
Also, it says you can be accessed via cell phone. Now, the last time I was out at the ancient forest, I didn't actually have a signal.
Yes. There are a few spots where you can get a signal. What we would do is highlight that the QR information can be downloaded in cell range, and then when you get to the park, you can actually scan it and it'll play it at that point.
Wait.
Yeah.
So I have a background in, I used to work at a low barrier shelter. So one questions that come to my mind is if our community members wanted to utilize this but didn't have access to the internet, they wouldn't be able to download the QR codes, correct? So
That's a good question.
Is there a way that the BC Parks can actually put kind of like a wireless Wi-Fi hub within that area to download it?
We can look into it. The biggest issue, of course, is power. There isn't any. But as part of the interpretive center development, we are looking into green energy sources for power generation, such as solar panels and hydropower and things like that. So if it is something that we can feasibly get energy for, I don't see any reason why we couldn't do that.
Perfect. I'm actually working with another group on something similar to this as well. So there's a way that maybe we can take that group in my position and collaborate with the story trail.
That would be great. Absolutely. Yeah. Be very excited by that. So that was just an information where things are sitting right now. Any other questions?
No more questions?
Okay. Tourism Prince George has a opening on their board. Oh, sorry.
No more, sorry.
Just a question on on the beginning or through negotiations with the province in regards to an area for Lheidli T'enneh. So we haven't, I don't know where that went, or did that come off the map, or is there a site picked, or what's happening with that?
So when the park was formed and Lheidli was part of the discussions, an area was established for Lheidli's use. It is at the northwestern edge of the park, so right next to the river. There's a small triangular section that is designated for Lheidli's use. We are hoping to be able to adhere more land to that particular section to expand Lheidli's cultural area, as well as create more opportunity for some riparian trails. So we've had some preliminary discussions, but we haven't really gone further into it.
So is that inside the park or outside the park?
It's in the park.
It's in the park, so then it'll be protected.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd have to have a look at that.
Yes, I
See where it's at
can
and-
share a map.
That's
Because the
where we,
original,
remember when we picked it,
the
that's
original
the
part
area.
that we were looking at before.
Yep, that's the area, that's the cultural area.
Marcel?
I have very little idea what that ancient forest is about. Is there a chance that we could arrange for the chief of council to go out there and look at the place?
Yeah.
I don't know, have you been out there before?
Yeah.
You're familiar with it?
Yeah.
I guess I'm the only one.
You're the only one.
Maybe I should go out myself.
I've been to the parkade there.
We're actually arranging a visit with the working group members for end of August, beginning of September. Council is more than welcome to attend on the days that we pick. And we're hoping to get the bus to be able to get us out there. So I will share that information with Kenora as the dates that are being considered. And if you guys want to provide what preference you have for time, we would welcome to have you attend and join with us.
Thank you.
Okay, your next item.
The next one is Prince George Tourism again. They have a board seat vacancy on their board, and they've requested that a Tlaitley member be put onto that seat. So they'd ideally like someone to be appointed before their September meeting, so before the end of the month. And this would obviously provide an opportunity for LTN's interest to be presented and protected in any tourism strategy going forward. The person who you could contact about that would be Colin Carson. He's the CEO for Tourism Prince George.
Okay, council, do we hear any interest to sit on this board? You nominate someone?
I'll nominate Crystal.
Okay.
Good choice.
So Crystal Gibbs has been nominated.
Yep, Domo seconding, Josh is seconding, Marcel's go.
Michelle Turkey.
So,
Can you take on the next round?
So
well, they don't
Crystal,
meet very often,
you
right?
accept?
No, I don't think so.
Well, we need at least two people, maybe Crystal and Joshua.
Crystal and Joshua?
I don't know nothing about
Crystal,
tourism.
we'll have,
I'm going hunting, I'm not going.
We can let them know you want to appoint two.
we'll have Crystal as first seat and Josh as second.
Okay.
Don't know what
Does it have to be a councilman?
Okay, then do we have three?
It's easier for the councilman yeah, probably.
Yep.
Some of these places only have spots for council. Josh, you in?
I think Josh is a good pick because he's very knowledgeable about.
Don't try to butter me up, man.
I agree.
You got the
cultural.
knowledge.
Cultural.
You got the knowledge, Domo. I learned everything from you. So yourself.
Just a negotiator, that's all.
Josh, just waiting for you, man. Crystal's already accepted, right? She accepted
looking to
Josh
you.
for a second, or even a backup,
Backup.
Just a backup.
Alternate, yeah.
an alternate, that way.
I'll be alternating all the time then.
What are you saying, Josh?
Nothing.
Is that a yes?
Yeah. I can
An
do
alternate,
Right on.
so,
Yay.
High five.
Crystal.
Okay.
and
I
Josh.
will let them know and I'll
We
let everyone know.
pulled it over.
That was a quick and easy one, right, guys?
It was an easy for you.
Should have picked option 2.
She did first.
So as I indicated, I can actually speak to the Rotary Club scenario. So that was the agenda item before mine. So I had a call from Dave Yarmish last week requesting that Tlaitley provide, if possible, 2 speakers. The Rotary Club conference is being held here in Prince George in May 2022. And they would also like to have an elder offer an opening and request that Chief Darlene speak to the council as well, or the conference.
I'll speak to council.
They would like, sorry, what was that?
I said, I'll speak to council. Hi, guys.
Some of the topics
To the
they
conference.
find of interest would be the ancient forest, the unique biodiversity, regional economic development opportunities, LTN culture and history, And then health and traditional medicines are just some of the subjects. Plately members and representatives can speak about whatever they think is relevant. He would like to also arrange a visit to the Ancient Forest for conference participants. So that might be an opportunity for a Plately member to also go along with that, those members. So these are just some suggestions to speak to the Ancient Forest, and some of the things would be Chief Darlene, myself, Darlene McIntosh, Alyssa Gagnon, Kim Gucci, or Jordan Contois. So Jordan is my project coordinator, so he's quite familiar with the Ancient Forest Enhancement Project. But these are just some names that I thought off the top of my head. Any other names or suggestions that you have would be, I know, appreciated. But Dave Yarmish wanted to put that forward and get interest from Plately if they're interested.
I'm sorry, this is for May 2020?
Yes.
Sure.
So, lots of time.
Yeah, lots of time.
Yeah. But there is an interest?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, totally.
All right. I will let him know that there is an interest, and
It's our
then,
forest.
yeah, we can go forward from there.
Yep.
Okay. And that's it for me.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you all very much.
Karen.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, so, council, we have reached the part of the agenda where we stated we would sign off the live stream. Before we sign off, and because this is the very first live stream meeting to your membership, I wanted to provide an opportunity to each of you to make a statement, comment to your members that are viewing tonight. Again, because it's an historic event. And perhaps we will start with Darlene and move towards the left.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm glad we were finally able to do this. This will be happening every chief and council meeting. So we've decided to have the meetings every third Sunday of the month, and we're going to bring some chairs in for those who would like to come and sit and watch. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was informative. And if you have questions about what was presented, you can email Joe. And what we will do at, I think, the next Chief and Council, we will read the questions and our response. And I hope you enjoyed it. We're not so nervous now.
Crystal?
Hello, everybody. Which camera am I looking at? I hope everybody enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing an audience maybe next time. And also, I'm looking forward to the every second Sunday, so we're not so rushed, and everything gets done. And thank you for watching.
Howdy. Membership, Domo here. I hope you have enjoyed the meeting, and hopefully you've learned a few things about how we operate in terms of the band governance, and hopefully we have a new council on board also, and I hope that we learn further in terms of what's going on, and share more knowledge with you in terms of who we are, your identity, we've lost our identity in the past, so, but now we're building on that now, and hopefully that, in the future that we can answer more questions from you if you have questions, and don't be afraid to ask, don't be afraid to talk with me. I'm pretty forward with talking to membership, and if they have questions on just about anything, if I can answer them, I will answer them. If I can't, then I will forward you to who can answer your question. And I thank you again for viewing this, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Frederick. Snachalia. I too, like Councillor Frederick, this is a big thing for us to be able to broadcast to you live stream, thanks to a lot of insistence and persistence by Councillor Seymour next to me, who I believe was the one who mentioned it to me a long time ago. He would love to have things live streamed to the membership. So to membership, I again thank you for supporting me for this role. And as frustrating as it is and was at times, I still, there's a desire and that I have that I only want to do the work that you elected me to do. So like Domo too, if you feel like you have issues you want to bring to me, please do that. I'd be more than happy. If I can answer, I will. If I can't, I'll bring it to the Chief and Council and get some answers for you. So, Masicho, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gagnon. My name is Joshua Seymour, and I am one of the counselors here. This has been one of the things I've been really wanting to see within our community, because it holds your Chief and Council accountable, and also brings forward that transparent government that we've been working towards. I think this is actually one of the silver linings that we've had during the COVID times, is the ability, because this technology didn't exist 5 years ago, so this is something that really pushed it towards where it is today. So thank you, COVID. I don't know what else to say. I want to thank you guys for staying with us this whole time. I know these meetings can be rather daunting, but that's what government is, right? We're here to make sure that we're making the correct decisions to the best of our ability for what's best for our community. So thank you for participating. I'm staring at Joe. The camera's right above Joe's head, so it's really awkward trying to look at the camera and look at Joe.
Okay, thank you, council members. Just in closing out the live stream to membership, please note and be patient with us. This will be an ongoing development improvement sessions, monthly meetings. In addition to that, I wanted to thank Kevin Brown and Andrew Johnson.
Can we see who they are?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we please see who they are?
They are on screen waving. Kevin Brown is in the blue shirt, and Andrew is in the salmon colored shirt on your screen. So thank you both, and good night to all of the live stream viewers, and please let us know if you have any suggestions. Before we sign off, I'd like to introduce our finance director, Tawfiq Islam.
Hi, good evening, members. Thank you so much.
And our meeting recorders, Kenora Stewart and Barb Allen.
Smile.
Last word to Joe.
So again, if you have any suggestions for further improvements or additions to what you would like included we would like to hear from you. So, so that's it from the Leyte Tenaya Chief and Council meeting, August 5th, 2021. Thank you and good night.